Hey there everybody, Jessie Mundell here. I just want to make sure the sound on the monitor is off. Okay, we're going to do a fitness exercise based session today. We're going to be talking about 5 squat variations that you can use in postnatal exercise or fitness programming. So I sent an email out earlier today to my subscribers to tell them about this story that happened earlier in the week, and that was that someone sent me a video that they saw on the internet, someone who was 3 weeks postpartum who was back squatting 95 pounds for 12 reps. And this happens often, that people send me these videos and ask me my opinion on them and if I think that is an appropriate thing to be doing. And here's my response to it. I'm very much a fan of body autonomy and us choosing and giving our clients the tools to be able to choose what is best and right for their bodies and our bodies. My concern is when that person who might have been squatting that 95 pounds for 12 reps, and those reps looked like they were a challenging load. It looked like there was some breath holding and some bracing through the core, which is not actually something I teach, but that's looking like what the person was doing to lift those loads. My concern is that that person does not have all the information to know that perhaps that wasn't the most appropriate thing for their body at 3 weeks postpartum. So my biggest mission in this world of postnatal fitness and prenatal fitness is just so people don't say, why didn't anyone tell me this might happen? I really hope that we can do our best benefit and risk analysis with people, really weigh the pros and the cons to figuring out what is best for their bodies during this time period of exercise and health. So that is why I decided today we should talk about squat variations that my clients are actually using in their fitness programming that are not just bodyweight squats, but are building them right back up from square one. Just had baby, early postpartum. A lot of my clients are with me through that later pregnancy, birth, right back into their fitness programming. Post-pregnancy, so we start things right from bare bones and build it all the way back up again to barbell squats with heavy loads on their back if that is something they want to do. So I don't know if you can see that whiteboard in the back, but those are the 5 variations of squats we're going to do today. Had to write them down, of course, because I can't remember 5 things anymore. Mom brain is very real. If you are new, my name is Jessie Mundell. I am a prenatal and postnatal exercise specialist. I coach pregnant mamas and current mamas in strength training programming who are all over the world. So we do lots of squats in the programming that they use, and these are 5 variations that I'm going to show you today. Let me know if you have questions as we go through. So let me show you first where we're going, if you can see that. So these are our 5 variations. We're going to do a bodyweight squat to box, and not actually a box because I didn't set that up, but I'm going to show you what I'm using instead. Bodyweight squat and then bodyweight squat with band. We're going to do goblet squat, offset front squat, and then front squat. You can screenshot this right now, should you want to. I'll go through them all. Okay, so first up, bodyweight squat to box. What I have set up here is just this kind of poof thing and then a pillow, because this is what I'm using. This is what a lot of my clients will set up just at their homes doing these exercises. They just use whatever they have available to them. I also encourage them to know that they don't just have to use a bench, because we can then vary the height of this box. They could start on something much higher with this bodyweight squat to box and then take it down lower as the weeks progress. Okay, so let me show you what this variation is going to look like. We're going to squat down, pause, stand. Squat down, pause, stand. Here's why I like this variation. We get to work the breathing into both of these ranges. For my clients, a lot of the time we're working on taking the inhale down into the squat and then taking the exhale back up to the top. So inhale, they can reset, they can start their exhale breath as they go to initiate. the stand back up to the top. So inhale to go down, pause, start their exhale as they start to root into the floor with their feet, exhaling to the top. So we can also match that pelvic floor lift or engagement into that way up out of the bottom of the squat with that exhale breath. So this is the first variation that we're typically starting in early postpartum, or if someone is just getting back to strength training after a longer hiatus off. We're doing a bodyweight squat to box, really pairing it with the breath, so then they can take that strategy into the other squat variations they're going to be doing. Again, why I love this is because we can make this as high or as low as the client might need, and they don't have to think about so many factors in this variation. They know that they're just going to sit and stand with control and with their breath. All right, so that's number one, bodyweight squat to box. Next up, we're just taking the squat freestanding. So forehand positions, some people like to take their arms out in front, some people like to hold them in at the chest. As they go down and into the squat, they might be holding here the whole way through. Same breath technique that we were working on as we were touching down and sitting down. Inhale to go down, exhaling to stand up. Again, they might be using that blow before you go cueing technique from Julie Wiebe. What we talk about is breathing in as we're going down, and then just before we get to the bottom and start to stand up, we can start to initiate that exhale breath to help us gain tension, to help us power back up to the top. So that's our bodyweight squat. Just tied into this second variation is adding a mini band. Tons of use of mini bands that happens for my prenatal and postnatal clients. So we can do mini band above the knees or below the knees, and this is just going to add extra tension and work through the glutes. So what I love about mini bands too is that it's going to give feedback to the client on what their squat pattern, what that technique is looking like. Often we might have some people that are caving in at the knees in the squat. They're going to be forced to take the knees tracking outward slightly. You can see that my feet are turned out slightly. This is a really comfortable position for a lot of female clients and prenatal and postnatal especially. So love the mini bands added on. I especially love mini bands for pre and postnatal because it's a way to ramp up the intensity without just piling on more load, and that might not be possible in prenatal and postnatal. Okay? All right, keep your questions coming if anything comes in. So third option is goblet squat. So for a lot of my clients, they're getting back into bodyweight squatting with the band, and then we take it up to a goblet squat. So we're adding a dumbbell or kettlebell as weight in close to the chest, setting up in that same position, keeping the dumbbell tight into the body, and then going through our same range, same breath, exhaling to stand back up. I will note that in the loads and rep ranges that we're using in these early postpartum periods, there's not much use for breath holding at these times. We're still breathing throughout each rep. So that's our goblet squat, just one weight at the chest and going through our squatting movement from there. Next up, we're gonna take this into a offset front squat. So I love this because then we can start to challenge the body a little bit more, but we're keeping, again, the load relatively light, and that might be appropriate for someone, again, in that earlier postpartum time range. So we do a front squat position, but only with one dumbbell. So elbow stays up, dumbbell stays parallel to the floor, and then we're gonna take, I like to take this other arm out to the side to help us balance the body. So we're gonna feel more work from the anterior abdominal wall and just work for clients to be able to hold the body position a little bit taller than maybe that goblet squat. So we would complete the reps on both sides. So this is going to be our most challenging option so far. So we need to ensure that someone is comfortable and feeling supported in the core, pelvic floor, abdominals, whole body before we take this up to our last squat variation, which is a front squat. So similar to the offset front squat, but now we're taking 2 dumbbells, both into that position, and squatting from there. Okay, so again, dumbbells stay parallel to the floor, and we're using that same breath pattern for most people. Obviously, you can totally play with this breathing technique. It doesn't always have to be inhale down, exhale up. That just tends to be what a lot of people are feeling comfortable with these variations for this amount of load in earlier postpartum. I think that's everything. So recap, body weight squat to box, body weight squat freestanding, and then adding a mini band in. And then we had our goblet squat, which is weight to the chest, offset front squat, and then regular double front squat with 2 dumbbells. 5 squat variations that you can use when you are getting people back to post-pregnancy strength training and starting to ramp back up the loading and the weight on those post-pregnancy bodies in an appropriate fashion. Okay? Any questions? I think that's it. All right, friends, let me know if anything else comes up, or if you are wondering for other exercises and the progressions of those, we can do another similar video. Okay, if you're catching the replay, let me know if you have any questions and I will check back in.